If global warming hits and gets going, it's starting to be really, really freezing. It's amazing how their predictions are all so amazingly accurate. The more global warming, they predict the colder it gets. It's very odd, that isn't it? And they keep insisting it's getting global warming and it's warmer. And each year we get colder and colder in the winter. And they think, well, hang on a minute, if it's going to get warmer, I, for one, I'll be very, very grateful because it'll save me on power bills and save me freezing to death during the winter. Now, why am I sitting outside? Well, I like a bit outside before I go to bed. I sit outside and fresh air, do a bit of Tai Chi and whatever. And sort of, I can talk without disturbing other people living in their house. And anyway, it gives me a chance to walk around and do a scene before night time. Anyway, what I was going to talk about is the greatest cause of CO2. And I have asked this question for years, and I've asked it at universities, I've asked it all over the place, and I also ask, it's like saying, where is the water? I'm not going to answer that one. You say to people, where's the water? They go, well, wherever, in the rivers, whatever. Nope, all wrong. Never mind. I won't answer that one. But I will say this. What's the biggest cause of CO2, the expansion of it, the greater cause of it, in the world? No one likes the answer anyway, but I'm going to say it. Women. Yes, there you go, you see. Everyone wants to blame the capitalists and Shell and BP and all the coal producers and all that. No. It's women. They're the biggest cause of CO2. And this may be a shocking revelation, especially to women. So, why are women, why am I saying, and this is a fact, by the way, it's not a fact, it's actually a real fact. So I'm not saying this sounds cynical and satirical and all that. It sounds funny, but no, it actually is true. And women might go, oh, why am I calling you all the CO2? Because women demand, you go into shops, any shop, all the catering we're into. Not many blokes, unless the blokes get the same-sex marriage thing and become a couple sort of thing, and one of them turns into a lot of a lady and starts buying lady things for the house and all that. All the shops, department stores, what do they cater to? They cater to men trying to please their wives and women pleasing themselves. Right? That's what the life's all about in the modern world. Life's all about men trying to keep the women happy and women trying to please themselves and then keep the log happy. But that's how it works. I mean, any man who's half decent sort of a bloke, he tries to keep his missus happy, and then you let her please herself, keeping herself happy, sort of thing. That's how it, and that's called a balance. Then you have a balanced relationship when you can't keep her happy, and she keeps herself happy. You know you've got a balanced relationship. That's it, and you accept it because as a man you're supposed to be accept. That's what you accept. That's your role. And anyway, but see, because it goes back to the silverback thing where men need to have wealth or look like they're going to be successful and have a good job and all to get a wife and to attract a woman. Not many women are attracted to men who say, well, I've got no ambition. I don't want to be a success. I want to be a failure. I don't want to contribute to global warming by getting into materialism to please a woman. Now, why? And people think you can get into materialism without fossil fuels, but it's actually materially speaking and physically speaking and economically speaking absolutely impossible, regardless how many failed students, even though they may be graduates of some fake degree, and that's what it has to be if they believe Al Gore is an honest gentleman. Is not. You say he's not explaining now where does his wealth come from. All his wealth comes from is BP, Shell, and Saudi fuel, and that's where it comes from. That's where Al Gore gets all his money from, regardless whether he might be speculating on wind generators and solar panels and stuff like that, but you can't make them we can't make them or finance them without fossil fuels. It's impossible. And right at this moment, Pakistan is trying to exploit 100 billion tons of deposit of coal, which is basically making a mockery of everyone in the world, trying to say, well, we're not going to use coal because we're trying to cut back on coal, and all those people protesting about it. Well, the Muslims aren't really, because it's all down to God, but that's beside the point. In fact, you could talk about Muslims as well in this. Say the Taliban. You could say the Taliban could be the greenest people on earth because they don't nearly cater to materialism and demand of the women. And women and men, maybe the West going in and saying, "I'm going to give women all this freedom and that." Maybe they're going and spoiling, causing Afghanistan now to be used to be a CO2. Not make much CO2 at all, but now we're getting into wealth making, pleasing, all the catering to all the washing machines and stuff that women want. They start to have to produce CO2. So, you just have to think about that. What does that actually mean? No, it actually means the fact is, since people have been more engaged into material being or material manufacture of material goods, that has caused the increase in CO2. It's a market-driven CO2. They're driving the market of CO2 itself. You could say, you purchase a good, and you purchase your CO2. But in that good, if it's an iron, a dress, or a washing machine, or a car, or whatever it is, it has a CO2 part of that compound costs in all of that. So you say everything you can think of as windmills have got a CO2 factor, a massive amount of CO2 in to produce and to pay for windmills. They don't pay for themselves, contrary to popular belief. In places like Australia and England, windmills do not pay for themselves because they can't run themselves. You have to back them up with coal-fired power stations. Otherwise, on the last few weeks, there's been no wind at all. You'd have no power whatsoever if it wasn't for fossil fuels. And then there's no way then you could pay your power bills for these fake fuel things, fake energy systems like wind generators. But there you are. Women are the greatest cause of CO2. Now, everyone wants to blame, and you see them dancing in the streets, blame the capitalists, blame BP, blame Shell. Now, if no one don't buy them, if women are serious, all these women, green women, lefty women, and all that saying, we want to stop all this fossil fuel, you have to then if you're genuine against stopping CO2, if you purchase one good that has had CO2 emitted on its manufacturer, you are responsible for that CO2 just by being involved in all the market. And the reason this CO2 has been compounded is because markets have compounded as women become wealthier. So you can see the benefit of keeping women poor in places in Africa and that. They don't have much CO2 because the women are poor. As soon as you get women being rich, there's a big burst of CO2. Like in China now, everyone's getting wealthy, and all the ladies over there are doing rather well actually. And so they all go around China. The shops don't shut till 9 o'clock, and everyone's madly buying stuff. All has to be produced by using energy, and all that energy comes from fossil fuel. It hardly ever comes from manufacturing. Hardly ever comes from wind generating. They have some wind generators in places what have manufacture, but they're usually manufactured from fossil fuel or nuclear power, because wind generators is not reliable enough to keep machines going on a regular basis to produce something. They can stop at any time. So your factory closes down when the wind shuts. Well, who can run something that's inefficient for starting? All the ladies will soon be complaining when the items with shortages in the store because, well, the windmills stopped, we couldn't make any irons or washing machines or dryers or fridges. You have to do without because there's a shortage now because there's a wind stop for a year. But that's an attack on. But that is why it's not BP and those people at BP, all of women, all they're trying to keep happy. Everyone who lives in a big house, I want a bigger house. All the Mac mansions, all the people ladies want to live in a big house. The bigger house you have, the bigger the CO2 footprint you produce. So keeping up with the Joneses and keeping your missus happy is contributing to the compound growth in CO2, and it will continue to do so long as the women of the world want to become wealthy, which is exactly their right. Go ahead, ladies, go ahead. There isn't a way of escaping the use of fossil fuels or nuclear power to produce all the material wealth that ladies require to keep them happy. I mean, I would find it's very difficult to keep women happy in a tent. Come on, love, I've got no money. I don't want to contribute to the compounding of the CO2 emissions into the air. Would you marry me, darling? We're walking home. We're not going to ride in the car. No, because the cars use CO2. I know you're a greenie. I know you're one of them greenie women, and I won't want to offend you by riding the car. So we've got a skateboard each, or we can walk. It doesn't matter. It only takes 2 hours to get home in the rain rather than 2 minutes in the car. I mean, but then nonetheless, that's fine because we're not using. We can proud when we home. Yeah, no, home's just a tent. Yeah, because if you use anything, a tent, you can stitch a tent up, but anything more than that, and you're contributing to CO2. And I don't want to offend any going to do lefty women, feminists, and that who don't want to pollute the world anymore. So I'm looking for a woman now who would prefer to live in a tent and outdoors, and we can rub sticks together to make a fire and that, because that way we're not contributing to pollution, are we? Much at all, really. Good idea, is it? Catering to women who want to cut down CO2 is a really good idea. Just don't buy many Christmas presents or birthday presents or washing machines or anything like that. Then they get what they want. They're not adding to the CO2. Then all the women making these things will be out of a job. And so will the husband. What happens then? See, this is the things Al Gore can't discuss because maybe he doesn't even understand them. Only thing Al Gore can discuss is Al Gore. That's it. Climate change. It's a fiddle. Until you can stop women demanding all the material goods in the world which have to be manufactured through fossil fuels and transported through fossil fuels and paid for by fossil fuels, the economy created by that, well, it's just rolling on, isn't it? It's a story, in other words, to scare the kids and give them nightmares at night. That's why I call Al Gore Nightmare Al. He's created nightmares in kids' heads. That's all. What a lot of baloney.